Hello, welcome back. So let's go ahead and get on the notes for 1.2. So a percent or a percentage is any part of a whole, right? And we write them as fractions and decimals. So let's practice that. So 40%, you just got to move the decimal place and we get 0.4, right? But you can also put that over 100 and then you can simplify that as much as you want. Just be sure to follow the directions. Right? And everything works like that. 1%'s a little weird though, because you do have to put that extra zero in there. Fraction's nice and easy. 100% also weird. We can just call that 1 or 1. But you can, of course, write those as fractions and decimals if you really were forced to, right? So if you pull out your calculator, I would encourage you to try these next three right now. So pause the video and try them out, and I'll give you the answers. Okay, so 50% of that, all we have to do in my calculator, make that a decimal, make that number there, and we get that magic 65. Now, if you can do that in your head, which you probably can, right? 130 divided by 2, 65, right? So you can also think of these as fractional, and that's a little bit easier to do in your head. Like for this one, if I use a fraction, then I know it's 20 real fast, right? Again, here, fraction is the best way to go because the dividing by 10 is something we like doing, right? That zero kind of cancels like that, doesn't it? Okay? So the blank in there is just this. Percentage equations are used to solve questions about percentages. So there's really kind of three types. And that's the main equation that you need to know from here. Part is a percentage of the whole. So you notice that when I said is, I wrote equal sign. And of is that multiplication. Okay? So all six of these questions here, you can do with that equation. So let's just pick a random one. Let's pick D, right? So, well, D is kind of weird, right? Because 33%, but it's okay. So part equals a percentage of the whole. So we have to figure out what is the part, what is the percent, what's the whole. Well, the percentage is sometimes the easiest one to find because it's got that percent sign. But we don't know if 6 is the whole or the part. So we have to read it very carefully, right? What is 33% of the whole, right? So this should be 6. And we have to be careful here because if I do type this in my calculator, I get 1.98. But remember, 33%, we round that, right? And that's 1/3. So this is really going to be 2. A little tricky. And let's do another one. How about this last one, F? 4 is what percent, right? So two ways to do this. Mrs. Ryan taught me this way, right? You can just Google Translate it. 4 is what? That's an unknown, x and 80. Solve for x, we divide. And we can simplify. I'm just going to use my calculator. So I got this. I use my calculator because decimals are pretty good for this lesson because they're really easy to go to percents and they're pretty easy to go to fractions. But remember, x is that percent, so I got to change this to a percent. Okay. You could also use that same equation there. Part equals percentage of a whole. So the percentage now is the question mark, and the whole looks like it's. So you can put maybe an x in there or a question mark. The whole is 80, and the part is the smaller one, which is 4. Right? The part will always be smaller if it's a proper percentage. If I throw like 150% out there, then like the roles are going to flip flop. But it's like the same equation, right? So either way, it's 5%. Okay. If you have any questions, just refer to those keys. I have the answers to all of them there. And then real quick on the back here, this is 7%, and this is 20%, or maybe 15 and 20%. It depends, right? So you can practice taking the percentages, but 7% is 0.07, right? And this is 0.2. So keep that in mind when you're doing those calculations, okay? And then for your homework, I have you fill out all these receipts. So try this out, right? You're going to need to take 7% of the subtotal, and you're going to need to give 20% extra for this. And just so you know, subtotal plus sales tax is the check. That goes here. Okay, so let's do this first one together, right? So your subtotal is $9. So you say, okay, well, 9 times 7% is 63 cents. And I did that on my calculator. This times 9. Okay. So the check, I call it that because that's what you get when you get your first check at the restaurant. You get this amount, right? You don't have to calculate the tax. The restaurant does that. But you need to calculate the tip. So you got to take that number, 9.63, multiply that times 20%, and I got this number. But of course, money, we just use 2, so I got to round up. And then all you got to do is add down, right? You guys have probably done this before, right? If you pay at the restaurant with your friends or whatever. But that's it, right? And this is a money amount. So that's the amount that's going to be deducted from your wallet or from your bank account. All right, any questions, just bring them to me. Send me an email.